The Bring a Trailer Podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Bring a Trailer Podcast. My name is Alex Porter, and today we are going to be playing our one-year garage game. Joined in the office today by reigning champion, maybe many-time winner, Zach. Hey, Zach, thanks for being here yet again.
I brought the bill. Who am I passing it off to
That's
after
right.
this?
Well, possibly to one of our other winners, Beck, also here. Thanks for being here, Beck.
That one time I won, I should have just walked away and never came back.
Totally. Well, you made the mistake, but here's me and Randy. We're also joined by Randy. Randy and I have never won. Non-winners. Two non-winners. Probably, at least for me, not going to break that streak. But Randy, you're fired up on 72.
We're doing 1972, which is a target-rich environment. Let's just call it that. I don't know how you only pick 5 cars from that year. Like, I'm going through BAT results on 1972, and I want all of them. So let's see what we select.
Before we jump in, I have some questions for you guys, and you already had cool topics, so I wanted to hit record as quick as I could. But before I do, let me just explain the game for people who haven't heard it before. So each of the 4 of us is going to come up with a 5-car garage. Each vehicle in that garage has to be from 1972. There are 5 categories for each person's garage. That is a daily driver, a family hauler, a sports car, a truck 4x4, and a wild card. We're going to go around the horn and pick one from those categories, and there's no overlap. So that's the big trick here. Who goes first and the order that people go in makes a difference. And then we'll let people tell us whether we made a good list or not. But before we dive into that, I want to talk about 72 in general. Zach, ask your question. You had a great question.
Well, I do. I also wanted to bring up 72 historical moments.
Oh, good.
Which is the perfect, I'm sitting across from the person to ask.
Oh, yeah.
I think 72 is Watergate, right?
72 is Watergate. I debated whether or not to set the table on this. It's a little bit depressing on the news side, but I have really good motorsports data for 72.
Motorsports will be positive.
So we can go on that.
We got a little Cale Yarborough. What do we got?
Totally.
What do you got?
I always do movies. So 72 is the year of The Godfather. So it's a really big movie year. It was also Poseidon Adventure. Have you ever seen that one, Randy? The ship that turns upside down? That's a good one. And Zach, I thought you would appreciate these. These were 71 movies, but they were still really big in 72. That's French Connection, so car stuff in there. Dirty Harry, San Francisco Connection, and Diamonds Are Forever, a particularly good James Bond.
Very good.
These were all top of the box office in 72.
With a Honda ATC
yes,
in it.
That's
ATC
right.
90.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah, really good stuff.
And what were top of the music charts?
Oh, I didn't look it up. You'll have to check it out. 72 is
School's Out, Alice Cooper. Still a banger today.
So good.
Applicable for our podcast today, I think. We've got Neil Young, Heart of Gold.
Oh,
Yes,
good one.
let's go.
Yeah, there you go.
Rocket Man, Elton John.
Oh, good stuff.
There's some bangers.
I mean, 72 is a good time for the arts scene.
And some honorable mentions of my least favorite music from the era. Chicago, Saturday in the Park.
Oh,
Man, you're going to have
gosh.
people reach out to you on that one. There's some Chicago fans out there.
What car are you not driving while you're not listening to Saturday at the Park?
Totally. We need to pair
That's like a
those with
big
some
American
of our picks.
convertible. Listening to that tune, that's pretty much the antithesis of Zach.
Well said. Man, I was going deep on that Cadillac we listed earlier this week.
Totally.
The gold one. You catch
Totally.
that?
I sure did.
Sit me on those couch seats. I'm aging now. I'm embracing my middle age.
You're
since
ready for a
last
couch,
podcast.
a couch on wheels. Zach, you're becoming quite the F1 fan. Do you know who the 72 F1 champion was?
I only know because I looked it up before
Okay,
this podcast,
Mr. Sideburns.
So my history is still weak. Shoot. No, Jackie X was 4th.
It's Emerson Fittipaldi in
Yes.
72, driving a Lotus, kind of a weird one that I didn't know about, kind of a flat looking thing. I can't remember the designation.
The grid in 72, it's such a highlight of...
Totally.
Andretti, I think, was 11th.
Yeah,
Didn't
way
even
down.
Make it the top
Second
10.
was the only other one I remember is Jackie Stewart was second in his Tyrrell, but I think he'd won in 71 or 70, so he's coming off his like three-peat, I think.
He still is, and also is the time where the drivers are doing more than just F1, right? They're coming to
totally.
the US, they're doing Indy 500, they're doing
F2, all of it, driving other open wheel cars. But I know it's good sideburns era, Zach. Emerson Fittipaldi and Jackie Stewart both have epic sideburns. Le Mans winner was a Matra. So not a car that we talk about a lot.
It's a tough year for Le Mans. They just discontinued the 3-liter category
Yes.
the year before. And so
Yep.
the GT5s, Porsche didn't have anything really to play with.
And they're going into the open cockpit era.
Mhm.
Matra was 1-2, and a 908 got third place, not
Yep.
even a 917.
Not a 1972 908, by the way. So
I know you can't pick that one. I thought
Yes.
about it. You did too,
Yeah, I
obviously.
did. I looked it up. All privateer cars at that point, basically, Porsche gave up on their prototype racing and they just sold off all their cars.
And then NASCAR Red, you'll love this. It's a Richard Petty year.
Oh, good.
And the car is an STP Charger.
Perfect.
Oh my God. That might come
Perfection.
up in a wild card slot.
Is
somewhere.
STP still around?
Somebody's got to own
Today?
the brand,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, no, you can get some sort of STP product on the shelf at O'Reilly's, I'm sure.
Loved it.
It looks like they've transitioned into just being a hat and shirt company. from my
It might be. It's like, but somebody owns the brand for sure because there's nostalgia, but they're not making a petroleum product anymore, I don't
They're
think.
making something. I never actually understood what the product offering actually
It
was,
was NASCAR.
other than it sponsored motorsports. But
Was it a cigarette? Was it
totally
alcohol?
What? Well, like
I
what
thought
was
it was
the
oil,
what was
wasn't
the
it?
value? No, it was like an additive
Or a lubricant,
It was
right?
like an
Yeah.
additive,
Okay.
which I've never been an additive
Yeah.
guy. So I was
Totally.
like, this is hand waving.
Little octane booster.
STP hand waving.
I had to do an
Maybe?
oil additive in high school all the time because I was just spitting out oil outside of the water.
Totally.
That was all I ever had.
Anything to
Did it help?
Anything
No.
to plug this
Of course
At some
not.
point, the Milano's block was just running off
The
of
logic
the oil additive.
Yeah, well, the logic there is if you add additive, it's now more expensive and running onto the sidewalk.
right.
So why don't you just put cheap oil in it to run off the sidewalk?
plug the leaks, please? Anything?
Stop leak.
Can I put something
Stop leak is something I do believe in.
Can I put something
But, yeah.
chunky in the soil to get it to stop leaking?
It was a thick. You wanted it thicker to stop coming out.
Totally.
It would still
No.
shoot out right onto the exhaust manifold and it would start to burn.
Perfect.
A little smoke come out of the
Perfect.
That's alpha normal.
That's
Good.
totally. I was going to
That's
say.
normal.
Yeah,
That's a feature.
Alpha normale.
That's a feature, not a bug.
Okay, I'm ready to dive in if you guys are. To determine order, I have our
Ooh.
names here on papers. I rigged that up 20 seconds before we started. Beck, why don't you pick for the order?
All right. So this is number one in big.
This is number one.
All right. It is
Z for Zach.
Z.
Oh,
Zach.
sorry, guys.
All right.
It is number B for, I'm assuming
That's
me,
you.
Beck. There we go. Randy.
Randy and
And
me.
Alex.
All right. Last place.
It's the finishing order was just announced. The starting order is the same. This is
It's
F1.
Monaco.
This is
Oh
F1
my
Monaco.
God.
There will be no passes. There will be nothing interesting.
Oh my gosh. Okay. It's going to be a freight train all the way around.
Mhm.
Zach, are you ready?
I am not ready because I wanted to shout someone out that left us a podcast review
Oh,
that I think is
No
totally
kidding.
worth mentioning.
okay.
Klaus Matt, big fan of the pod, left a great glowing review and in the politest way roasted, I would say the three of us, Beck is not included in this. He says, also like real Valley girls of old, they say, oh my God, totally, literally countless times per episode. So I think he got us good.
But did he say literally in his review? Okay, so wait, that we can mirror that back a little bit. We
I
can
think
give
he's a fellow Valley girl.
okay.
Yeah.
I totally say totally.
The
It's
hardest-
hard. It's hard for everyone has like a podcast tick, and that's mine. I just say totally.
Was this a review like on Apple Podcasts?
Yeah, Feb 25th.
Maybe we can have
2025.
somebody edit out your totalies.
Chris, shout out to our producer who definitely edits out a lot of the moronical things that we say. All
Could you
the
replace
ums
them
and
with
ahs.
radicals?
Radical.
I think that's appropriate and we should lean into it. You can't escape your childhood.
It is annoying to listen. Like very often when I listen back to the episodes, which I feel some professional obligation to do, I usually get to about the 15-minute mark and I'm like, that's enough. I've heard enough of myself saying totally over and over again. And so I need to cut it off. But it is something that I think is unavoidable, Zach. To
The
your point.
hardest I've ever seen Anthony Sarah laugh was when somehow that comment came up in conversation. And he's not a big, gregarious laughing guy, but he was doubled over laughing when he heard that.
Oh man, it's great. Well, we appreciate that listener and appreciate their feedback. Is that the only review?
No, the reviews are strong and steady. We've
Oh, that's
got an
great.
enthusiast listener base for
Great.
sure.
That's great. We got some really good feedback via the podcast inbox as well. So we appreciate everybody out there. They love this game. This is our 8th time playing this, and it's been a while. So apologies for waiting a while. Zach, start us up. You get to pick the category.
I am going to start off with Family Hauler. Is that okay?
Absolutely.
Let's go.
And my Family Hauler I'm going to join the likes of Aristotle Onassis, who populates a search term on the site.
Yeah,
Guess
sure
that
does.
is Bobby Womack, Eric Clapton, David Bowie, Elvis, George Harrison, John Lennon,
Wait a minute.
and Zach Beatty, W100 Mercedes-Benz. That's my family hauler.
600.
Shoot. Short wheelbase.
Short wheelbase?
I
Super
want
long?
short wheelbase.
You want short wheelbase. What color?
I do.
What
I
color?
don't need a partition. Red seats, black exterior.
Black,
would be my
red.
color.
Okay.
I saw the
said,
white.
You said the word red first. I was like, where are you going?
Interior to start.
Okay, good,
Yeah.
good.
Great pick. Not even on my list. And it should've
Mercedes
been.
fell off a cliff in 72 other than that car, which was a legacy car, right? The S class, there was no more 6.3.
Yeah.
The SL changed,
Only it's the 4.5.
right? And the
That may come up. Let's not completely crap on that car.
sorry. That may come up. Sorry, I was about to say.
Don't forget, I'm in fourth
We're
picking
in
place.
full era.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's like a moment in time for Benz where like they had a moment. But anyway, let's see what else we pick.
Well, but no, it's true. Without the 6.3, things are a little more sad.
Mercedes great, but
Yeah.
I mean,
We've had some really good 4.5s on the site. I'm prepping. I'm prepping for in case I need to pick that one. Beck, you're up next. Family hauler.
All right. For my family hauler, I'm picking a Citroen 21 station wagon.
DS21.
respect.
Great pull.
I think it's just a gorgeous car. It's got a third row you can get facing towards each other. I don't really know these cars very well, but I think they're gorgeous. And I feel like that'd be pretty exquisite for taking around California with my family.
It would be awesome. Do you know the differentiations between the various DS numbers? 21 is
I do not.
2.1 liter. There's DS19. Some of them are stripper models. Some have hydrodynamics. Some don't. I'm not totally sure on the differentiation between all of them.
Especially when you get into the wagon version,
Totally,
it's
sure.
even more limited, I think. But
Yeah.
those are cool. We've had those show up at alumni gatherings.
Yeah,
We've got
the
that
green
classic,
one, the
the
green
green
one time. That sparked
shows up at
interest.
Laguna
Yeah, for
Seca,
sure.
like with full French picnic fare out off the tailgate. Like those guys are
Beret,
heroes.
yeah, beret wearing driver.
With a
drinking
color
wine
matched,
at our event. Well,
cooler, I want to
They
say
got
as
the
well.
coolers. They've got the everything. The champagne is flowing. So anyway, shout out to those guys. But that'd be fun, Beck.
I'm looking over your shoulder and I'm seeing that blue one was a very good one too.
Yep, the French blue is the color to choose from. Specifically, it's a lot 61 408.
61 408. Perfect. All right, Randy, you are up.
Easiest question ever. 1972 Chevrolet Suburban 4-wheel drive. Those were
Easiest
3-door models. 72 was the last year of the certain body style. They flipped it in 73 to a, in my opinion, less desirable front end. And I don't know how many of these categories in our competition today I'm going to try to fulfill with something very similar to this, but we started at family, so it gets the nod. This could have also gotten truck. This could have gotten daily. This could have gotten wild card. Sports would have been a stretch, but I may have lobbied for that category if that was first. But I want to get out in front of 72 Suburban.
Wait, did you say 3-door?
So they were 3-door. They did not have a second door on the driver's side.
Wow.
They had a second door on the passenger side only. And I've contacted a fellow in Colorado who will custom build a 4th door onto the other side because it was interesting back then, but I think it's just sort of bizarre and makes no sense at this point. I don't know why they did that or what the justification was, but I love those Suburbans, but they have to be 4-wheel drive. We've sold a number of them. They've showed up to gatherings, just showing the guys a picture. I mean, it is
A lot
what
of them
you
are
think it is.
two-tone on the bottom
They're
too,
two-tone.
right?
They never did a two-tone down the side of these, but some people customize that if you want it to look like a Sierra Grande type setup. But anyway, I love those. I think they're unbelievable. You can get a 3rd row in them. You can get plenty of room for everything. Richard Griot has a really good one that's been on his catalog a number of times, and he's driven all around. He's kind of a fan of it, white steel wheels. We sold a great one. I'll try to find the lot number into Oregon. And the guy brought it to one of our first ever events, which was at Portland International Raceway a million years ago. And he pulled it into the paddock. And I was like, man, that's the truck. So anyway, I have always liked those.
You were like, if only it had a 4th door, and then immediately got online and found the one guy in the
And I
country that
found
could
it.
make
Yeah,
your spec.
absolutely.
Does he also convert Velosters, Hyundai Velosters into 4-doors?
I don't know.
Wow.
Should I know what that
It's a
is?
small niche
Oof.
business.
Yeah, that's a weirdo.
Does that have a
modern
3-door?
Honda.
It's
Yes,
like the
but I think-
Saturn. Was there a Saturn that had a
Yes,
3rd door
correct.
only?
SC2.
The Ion.
You guys are immediately all over that. You don't know this about Suburbans, which they made 40 million of.
Chevy.
But you know the Saturn Ion.
The first time I ever saw that setup was in a Silverado, which had a the third door folded out backwards. You had to open the passenger.
RX-8s had that, right? The third
RX, except they were 4 or they were 3.
I'm not really
We've
sure.
had one Saturn SC2.
Oh, look
Check
at there
the
it is.
driver's side. It's got that extra little door.
But that's on the driver's side as opposed to the passenger side.
Passenger side's a single door.
Single door, where the Suburban.
Look at that.
Yeah,
So look at the
single door
driver's side of the
driver's
Burb. It has a roll down window as if it were a door for
Just
that
to
passenger,
trick you?
but there's no door.
Do you have any idea what the argument is for that? Like, what's the point?
I do not. Maybe it's charming. Maybe
It is charming.
Maybe it's a conversation starter and we should just keep it 3-door. But I was like full on investigating building one of these and I was like, I wonder if you could do it. Anyway,
Interesting. Really good pick. That's a 350. What's the power plant? Or
you could get a 396 in them, I think,
Interesting.
and you could get any array of small blocks. But I would do either one, whichever one came along. But the 8-lug, the larger axle setup is nicer. I like
396, you could start thinking about towing something with it
There
too,
you
which
go.
is good.
it. There you go.
Great pick. I'm lucky because I get to pick my number one pick, which is a Vista Cruiser. We were talking about it downstairs. Old Vista
Perfect.
Cruiser with the kind of Cena Cruiser second windscreen. I've got a nice one pulled up here. We actually haven't listed that many 72s.
Wrote the lot
red.
number on that one. That one's like a copper color. That's really cool.
With the
looking.
wood grain on the bottom. This is lot number
188
yeah,
359.
188359. Exactly right. Really nice one. I've always loved these. I would love to tow a front engine nostalgia dragster with one of these on an open trailer.
It's a good combo.
You know, little high life in the back and a green
That's
Coleman
early
cooler.
70s
Yeah,
life.
Yeah,
Yep.
totally.
I like that.
Totally. So that Hot Rod magazine, you see Vista Cruiser pulling any one of those cars. So anyway, I'm glad I got that one.
We also have to mention the seller of this lot. It's Competition Cars, who's sort of built a lot of his brand on
Yes.
selling a lot of this stuff that's wonderfully preserved, odd, and you rarely see. So
And usually kind of large, weird American cars like this.
Mostly
He has
American.
a lot of fans on staff.
a lot of what you'd call preservation class 80s American cars.
All right. That's 188359er. Zach, we're back around the horn for
That
you,
sounds
buddy.
like when you're at a tent auction and they're like getting the person's paddle
Totally.
number, right? They're
Totally.
like, that's gonna be
Lock him in before he has
Lock him in before he runs away. Right? Somebody grab him.
Totally.
Grab that
Did
person.
I hear a niner in
Yeah.
there? Were you calling on your walkie-talkie? All right, Zach, you are up. Where are we going next?
Okay, I don't know if my truck pick is going to be offensive to Randy, whose entire list is probably just American 4X4s.
So we're going truck 4x4 next, Zach?
I'm going for it.
Okay.
It's the 1972 Honda Vamos that I still regret.
You still
not
regret
buying.
not getting.
Wild.
We were in the office when that thing was going, and you said we should get this, and we should have gotten that.
Man, 10 grand. It would be such a good little gardening truck around the house.
I've never even heard of that.
So the
before.
weirdest part about those is the only place I've ever seen one of those in person. I saw 2 of them, and it was at the Quail, which is like
Whoa.
the food there costs the same as that Honda, right? It's like a weird mix of like it's really bougie show and like crazy race car stuff. And they had 2 of those parked there, and they were very cool. These little Honda truckettes.
Yeah, motorcycle powered.
Yep.
Honda golf cart with a license plate, pretty much.
Yeah, so it has like a flatbed on it. I've never heard of this before. It's for moving at a little factory,
They
right?
made
Like,
them
it's
in a
little
lot of
mini
different
truck.
variants. They made them a bunch of different variants. This one happens to be like kind of a convertible looking thing, but some of them have a full top. Some of them are a van. They do all sorts of stuff.
The rear, it has like Honda styling. The back end looks like a Honda styling. This is great, Zach.
They're so great. Look at the steering wheel, the Honda H in there. It's the exact utilitarian truck you'd expect in Japan around that era.
This would be so much fun on a ranch or on like a farm, just for horsing
I
around.
think around a racetrack that would work.
Oh,
pretty well.
totally. Totally.
I'm bummed. If you're out there, Viper 97, I'm happy to be the next owner whenever you're over.
Where
it,
are
so.
you, Viper 97?
Viper 97, we are calling.
That's Beck's username. No, it's not.
Great pick, Zach. All right, Beck, truck 4x4 for you, sir.
All right. So I'm going with a specific truck on the site because it is a modified one. So it's a 350 powered Toyota Land Cruiser FJ55. The not so pretty FJs.
Oh, don't say
think
that to
they're-
Randy.
I think they're ugly beautiful. I love how
They're ugly. They're straight up ugly.
They're straight up
but they're cool.
They're very cool. And I think that they are sort of an interesting outlier that you don't really see people.
Which one?
flip
Show me which one you're talking about. We've
it
sold a
is
good number of them, including one last
white
week.
and green.
White, green, V8. Okay. I love that you picked that one. That one's like pretty
What's the model
utilitarian.
on it, did you
it's
say
not
again?
super
This is a
fancy.
Chevy 350.
Oh, it's a 350. Okay.
Lot number 91423. Niner one.
901.
Alan Jackson had one of those on his fishing ranch, and it sold through Barrett like 15 years ago. And if I could have any one of those, I want his.
This one had a winch with like a cage built around it
There you
for
go.
safety, I guess. I don't know. I think it's just awesome. Blue plates.
That is a really good one. And for a long time, we hadn't listed FJ55s are hard to come by, right? And for a long time, we hadn't listed a good one, especially non-rusty ones are pretty rare.
They
Isn't
are
that
hard to
right?
come by. Restored ones, you lose your entire wallet trying to restore one of those and then gain that money back. It never works. So people are cautious with those. There's a few nice ones floating around. There's been a few listed other places for sale, and then a few that make their way to BAT.
Did we originally get it in the US though?
Oh, yeah.
We did,
There's-
okay.
Yeah, US trucks, FJ55s. They all have the drop-down tailgate option. And then they got, the smog ones nobody wanted for a while, the after 75 trucks. But now those are actually pretty popular because you can get them with air conditioning and whatever else. But yeah, blue and white's classic, red and white's classic, green and white. I never heard the whole story about the two-tone and whether that was done at the factory or the dealer or how that all worked out. But in other countries, they came in single color. But in the US, I believe every one of them was two-tone.
The
in the
vast
US.
majority of the ones we've sold are two-tone.
Yeah, but people will restore them now and paint them other stuff. But anyway, they are very, very cool. We've got that guy importing a lot of overseas trucks and selling them, and he gets the ones with the ambulance doors on FJ55s,
Yes.
which is unusual. And they have jump seats in the back. They seat like 11 people and machine guns.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
Troop carrier.
totally. And they're pretty neat. So anyway, I love FJ55s. That was on my list for another category, and I'm going to pivot.
All right. Where are you pivoting to, Randy?
So wait, truck for me. So
Yes.
we're going to veer into, we have to
We're
eventually,
getting
Zach,
obscure.
who either currently or has owned a 72 car.
Oh, yes. Right. Now's the time.
A few of us do. And I have a 72 truck downstairs that I happen to actually like. So that's my truck choice was when I got it. It's a quasi BAT alumni car. It was a reserve not met car that I went and decided to pay the reserve and get for myself. That's a 72. It's very similar to the Suburban. It's like the same vehicle, same frame, same drivetrain, but it's a GMC. So we'll call it really, really different. And that is my pickup downstairs. But yeah, it's got to be the choice. There's
Yeah.
not a
K10,
better
right?
choice.
K10 is the model.
20. Yeah. Because
K20.
it's- Yeah, there's the K10s and the K20s. K means four-wheel drive. C means
Two-wheel drive,
Two-wheel
right?
drive. But they actually do it a little bit differently for GMC for no good reason. 2500 truck and Sierra Grande and blue, white, and plaid interior and steel wheels. Long bed, only long
Do you need
bed.
your motor swap in it too?
I mean, I've driven that thing a bunch. You guys have
Yeah.
driven that thing some. It sure helps. But any engine is doable. But having a modern drivetrain is very nice.
I've never actually driven it, but I
You
know
should go
everyone
drive
who
it
does
today.
loves it. I would like to. I'm doing okay because I again get the thing I wanted. I'm going to go for a Bill Stroppe Bronco.
Good call.
ooh, nice.
Baja Bronco.
Yes, correct. A truck that I didn't know existed until I worked here. We've listed a couple of them, although only 172, and it's actually live right now. So it must be we've
Can
done
you
earlier.
reference the number of them that we've listed correctly because it's pretty hard to verify and a lot were faked. I
Correct.
think we've only had a couple.
We've had
authentic ones.
tributes, but I
Marty has it on the
Yeah.
thing now. It's more verifiable, and there's experts on BAT
Yes.
that know stuff.
my favorite one was, I think when I found out about them back many years ago when I was the only editor we had, it was a kind of an unrestored one. Do you remember that one? It was early BAT
Yep.
auction days, an unrestored verified one that I really liked. A lot of them have been super restored. And yeah, Zach, to your point, are hard to verify. But Randy, you'd schooled me on this. It's a tribute to the Bill Stroppe built the Baja 501,000 trucks, right? And so this is kind of a Ford tribute to him, to his success down on the peninsula in Mexico.
Yep, but he actually had his hands on them, and they went through his
Right.
shop, and he specified crazy stuff on them.
Yep.
The best part of them is the Cactus Smasher front bumper. That's the best option name. The color scheme, some people love it, some people don't, but it's pretty cool. The wheel tire setup was cool. I think the transmission and the bell housing and some different things were different on the Stroppe trucks. Anyway, they were very cool. We have one live. The best part of the one live, actually, there's a period as discovered picture of it. I don't know if you've seen that.
No, I haven't.
But it's all restored now and looks great. But I actually like the old picture has a tow bar. It's sitting in some desert SoCal yard, and it has a tow bar on the front bumper and an offset blue license plate in the grill. and like dumpy steel wheels on it. And it's very cool. It's like worn out. A Stroppe worn out looks really neat.
That's how I would like it too.
Yep.
Right. And probably
Great choice though, dude.
a lot
Well done.
of them got there. Well, I'm a sucker for the livery. Also, I like that era Bronco, but that's just an interesting one.
Yep.
A little bit of a deeper pull. Okay, Zach, where are we going next?
I think Honda Daily Driver. Sports car, I think, is when the gloves come off and everybody's
It's going to get
upset.
ugly. You're right about
It's a
that.
tough one to go last.
Yep. All right. What do you got?
Oh, I think I will go with a C10 GTR Skyline.
Oh,
Get a twin cam.
good.
I can daily right-hand
72
drive.
Skyline is what body style?
It's the good angular one you can get with the twin cam. It's 72 is a transition year, so it's the last of the C10 that looks.
It's not the Ken Mari weird
no
one.
Ken Mari, which looks kind of like a
Torino.
Yes.
yeah, or an AMC.
Totally.
That starts in 72, but there's an
Okay.
overlap between the two.
And you want the prior.
Yes,
Okay, great. Which is the one?
Robbie Pyle Skyline.
Yes. That's one way to describe
Yes.
it. I wanted to say the H word, but I'm afraid I'm going to pronounce it.
Hakusuka?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what
Hako.
people refer
mine-
to the GTRs as.
But he's pronounced it differently than that also. I don't know. It's like Pajero Pajaro, which drives me crazy.
Yeah.
Whatever I'm
So-
saying, it's wrong. I
Yeah.
can hardly speak English.
I've
I have
heard
to-
people say Hakuska and I've heard Hakusuka.
Hakusuka's right, I think.
Anyway,
But who knows?
cool. I've
That's
heard people shorten it to Hako as well. So anyway, that's what you want.
Hako it is. Yeah.
That's a good car.
Give me
What
that
color? What
white,
color?
Obviously.
You want a white one?
Oh, white's so good.
There's so many are silver, but white's good. I think red's good.
Red's cool.
That is a really good
I
car.
was going to say I'm not a red car guy, but then I drove a red car to work. So
Whoops.
That's a really good
Oops.
choice. All right, Beck, what do you got?
All right, going for daily driver, I'm kind of splitting. I don't know. I'm tough. I've got two.
You and I
that
are going to have a lot of overlap
I
here.
know.
I'm very worried.
Well,
you're going to
no,
take
I don't
them.
know. It's a decision towards, is it something that would work really well in the city, or is it something that I'd have more fun driving? Kind of goes back and forth. But I think I'm going to go with the Ford Capri RS 2600, which was the
Oh, wow.
homologation car for running in the TS class. Won its class at Le Mans, but it was also a street car with actually can use it daily to work.
2600 means V6?
V6,
Isn't that interesting?
mechanical fuel injection, same Kugelfischer that was in the TII, and
You got one? You got an example of
there
a
was
pick?
no.
Show 'em.
I'll pull it up, but we haven't had an RS on the site.
Okay.
We've only had 2600s, so I couldn't pull an example one.
So this is
but-
an RS 2600
Correct.
that you want.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
My father had a Capri in the 80s, I want to say.
Yes.
Those are cool.
Yes, to all.
And unfortunately, he was trying to get like the middle ground between the European sports car and American car. My mother grew up in the Detroit auto world and was a Ford person. So he was sort of like satiating her by getting a Ford, but he got a Capri. And then the only way he could actually get it was with an automatic, which was quite sad, but pretty fantastic, I think.
Is that an RS 2600 that you
That is an
showed?
RS,
Man,
yes.
that looks great with the gold wheels and everything. Is that
Mhm.
the factory paint scheme on them?
They definitely came multicolored. I think
I think
black
I've seen them
hood-
in blue and blue and white.
blue
right?
and white
Yeah,
was
okay.
common one, but also black hood
Yeah.
was common as well.
that's a car that looks like Alex Porter belongs in it.
Totally. I'm ashamed to admit, Zach, it wasn't even on my radar, and I'm like pretty jealous. It's a
90%
really good.
of your wardrobe is perfect for that car.
Totally.
Your wardrobe reminds me of a Capri.
the lover specifically. Yeah.
Definitely no socks when driving that
You're
car.
gonna pack of parliaments rolled up in your sleeve.
100%. Totally. For our listener out there. Great pick, Beck. All right, Randy, you ready? I see you furiously hacking away on
I'm
your
trying
phone.
to find something on the website right now, and I am just grinding, and I'm not going to find whether it was produced in 72. But I have a great answer regardless. I am going to drive a 2002 TII,
Oh, that's would have been my choice.
which is a terrific car. On Beck's recommendation, went to the NorCal 2002. What do they call it? What's the official name of that show?
It's the Bay Area 2002.
Bay Area, not NorCal. Yeah. Saw 100 2002s 2 weeks ago on Saturday. Love those cars. I drove a 72 TII with a salvage title and a sunroof to college my freshman year. Can't lose. Fantastic car. I would love to have one parked outside right now.
Color? I went deep on this was going to
There
be
are
one of my
many
top. Yes.
good options. I was looking at the entire Skittles sort of rainbow at the show. I mean, mine was Chamonix white with a blue interior. That's what I had back in the day. I still think that's a solid choice.
I have this auction pulled up. The Golf
Yellow's
color.
pretty strong. I like the lighter of the two oranges. I like Colorado orange.
Yes, I do
Better
too.
I
than
like
Inca, for
I
sure.
like Inca too, though. I mean, I would do both. And then what other colors are good? There's some lighter blues that are kind of cool. Anyway, there's a lot of good colors, a lot of good spec on that car. Just the badge. The name of it's so absurd, right? 2002 TII, such a dumb name for a car. It doesn't make any sense to anybody. If you say it in German, it sounds dumb. If you say it in English, it sounds dumb. It was just weird. You had to be such a geek to like think that was rad. And I was, and I don't know. I found one. Where did we find it? San Francisco Chronicle classified section, $4,500, parked on the street in the marina, and went up and bought it back when I was a kid. Anyway, cool cars.
That was top of my list for a daily driver. Euro bumps, orange or yellow. You don't
even need Euro bumps. Like the US bumpers were great. 72.
72
right?
is fine.
Oh, 72 is fine. Same. Okay,
yeah,
gotcha.
that's the same.
And
Almost
it's
the same car as
still
the
round,
European.
still round taillights.
Roundy. Yep.
Did
Mine came with red center lens turn signals, which was the US spec, which aggravated me to no end. So I saved up my lunch money or whatever, and I bought proper orange turn signal taillights.
Are the little turbine wheels Alpina wheels on those? I really like those.
13s?
Yeah.
13s. Yeah, those were floating around. I don't know.
I
There's
think
a lot
those
of good
were
wheels.
factory like option. I think those were E21 Alpina wheels that people put on.
A lot of people put them on though.
Mhm.
Yeah. There is an alloy that.
So there was an optional alloy wheel, 13-inch, that people sometimes call the TII wheel, but it wasn't associated with it. It was just sometimes optioned with it.
Gotcha. Great pick. All right, I'm going to have to pivot here a little bit, but this is actually a good place to take a car that I was talking about in the office yesterday. I'm going to pick a very specific chassis car for this, and that is Apollo astronaut Walt Cunningham's 1972 911S, which is a car as a daily.
Yes.
I was showing this to Randy yesterday. A 911 would just make a great daily. I thought about 914-6, but a 911 is actually probably better than a 914 as a daily. And this is a very specific car that we listed back in 2019 that was bought new by an Apollo astronaut. We were looking at all those pictures yesterday. The lot number is 20710, lot 20,710. Great pictures of Walt Cunningham in front of the Saturn V rocket with this car. A signed picture of him with his white pilot scarf on saying, enjoy the 72S to whoever bought it from him.
And Chevrolet bought him a Corvette. He went to space and he got back and he was like, I think I'll just buy my own 911.
As a great point, Zach, almost all those guys are driving Vets and he's ripping this thing around. One of the Mercury 7 astronauts had a Cobra, but almost all of them had Corvettes. A lot of them provided by Yanko down in Florida.
Really?
Who learned how to fly from one of the astronauts, as I recall. Anyway, this specific car, I just loved. Do you remember this, Beck? You were working for us.
For sure.
Yeah.
You already picked silver one, right?
Silver. Yeah. And I love 70. Zach owned we could talk about who's owned cars from 72, but Zach had a 72 911. I love them. The external oil filled door. It's my favorite year of the long hoods.
It was on a different list for me, but you've already taken that one now.
Oh, you had it on there, huh?
On a different list,
Yeah.
yes.
First year of the 915 as well.
Oh, that's right. 2.4 liter.
You lose the dog leg.
That's right. And everything is injected in 72, S's and T's, right?
Correct.
I think
T's get injected at that point.
Yeah.
And improved dramatically, just in engine internals and everything.
I wish I could tell you, but mine had carbs.
Yours ripped, Zach.
It did when I put a new motor in it.
That's right.
That's all it takes.
That's all it takes. All right, Zach, you ready for the dogfight? You get to go first.
Okay, so
Sports car.
I don't know if I can pick this now that you picked the 911S. I had 27 RS on mine because that's first year production on those. But
I thought they were 73.
Wait a minute.
72 RS.
They were officially 73s, but maybe they were built late 72.
May 72 is the first month of production for them. You can fact check me. I have a
No. I believe you.
Break some hearts as well.
I think they're all 73 model years is the problem. I think
there's at least been a handful
that have been
marketed
listed as
and
72s.
titled as 72s, and it.
Well, that's like people saying 63 911s. There technically were no model year 63s, but some were built.
And then people
Same
call
as
them a
64.
63, right?
No, if you tried to list a 63 911, we would change your title to 64. But I think there's compelling evidence that there are 72 RSs, but we can fact check and
Call your buddy in Austria.
Yeah, I think it's a different enough car that you can have it. It's a significantly different car.
No, that's
than an
fine.
S.
There's controversy over the year and the car. I'm going to break some hearts and just give me a 2416 Coupe.
God damn it. That was my choice. That's good. Give me the spec on what's the color for you. There's good colors in 74. You need a hardtop, not a Targa, right?
Coupe.
Yeah.
Coupe is so pretty. I love those cars because it It's the end of the era for Ferraris when they had a lot of curves. They start to get really angular in the early to mid 70s and basically all the way till the 2000s. You get a few curves again, and now they're back to angular. So, yeah, one of my fondest memories at BAT was Randy honking at me with that hilarious Italian horn of the Dino to come downstairs and rolled in an out burger and just cruising that thing around and seeing the huge fenders just popping up. You're almost sitting on the ground out in front of you.
Great choice.
Visibility is so good. It sounds fantastic.
What would be the color for you? There's that. I was looking at these. There's that blue color. There's a really nice brown. There's all kinds of good stuff.
We've had 2 brown ones that are fantastic, but I think blue would be my top choice.
I've got that one pulled up because I love it so much.
Metallic blue is probably my call.
That's such a good car, Zach. That's a great one. That could probably even be a daily if you wanted to. It's probably comfortable enough.
Or maybe could. I thought Skyline has back seats and a better trunk.
Should we all share the 246 GT that we were intending to choose?
Yes, please, because this was the top choice for everybody.
Mine was the dark.
Oh, that's a good color on that.
That was going to be mine.
Man, really good. All right, well, do you have a backup?
I do have a backup. Again, a specific car on the site, 72 Ferrari Daytona Competizione conversion.
That qualifies as sporting. Wow, stripes, plexiglass over the lights, huge wheels, flares.
I thought this was pretty incredible. Also, it did win at Le Mans as well, so common themes throughput.
What's the lot number on that one? Beck, I definitely scrolled past that car.
112-283, 112-283.
Perfect. Fantastic. Great car. All right, Randy, can you get a sport truck in there?
I'm trying. Well, I was thinking of going all Chevrolet BMW only after I pivoted away from all Chevrolet. But I am going, I know, man, TII is like I want it on steel wheels and driving around town, but for sports, I want a CSL. Even if I have a TII,
great call.
I want a CSL. And I've been looking at these lately. The earliest ones have fixed rear side windows. Do you guys ever know that? The super early ones with plexiglass windows and stuff, the rear windows are fixed.
Oh, that's interesting.
And it's a hardtop car. It's so beautiful when the windows all go down.
Wait, they're plexi in the back?
That has kind of steered me away from the 72s, the early cars, the carbureted earliest CSLs. But for the sake of this game, 72 CSL Inca. Go.
CSL in Inca.
Those are so great.
Have you ever owned an E9, Randy?
I have not. My dad had a 2800 CS, awesome. white, blue. I forget what it was. We took it on the Target, California together. It had 14-inch Alpinas on it and a 4-speed or a 5-speed. I forget. But man, that car was smooth, cruising, driving. You try to chase Porsches and you kind of get beat on the really twisty stuff, but on the winding stuff, you run right with everybody.
Who was your buddy who brought the one in here that had a later motor in it and a 5-speed? That silver car was really nice.
My buddy Chris.
He had done bumper swap on.
That's right. Yeah, he had reverted to the early bumpers and did a bunch of work on that car. That car ran some of the rallies with us. That was a very cool car.
That was a really, really nice car.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, I love those.
That's a great pick. Dino was my top choice. CSL was on the list, but I get a good one. I'm going to take a Pantera.
There you
72
go.
Pantera.
Well done.
A car that has really grown on me over the last year. Zach, you and I have talked about this. 72 has that great blue color. We've listed a bunch of good blue ones. I would not want the big campies that everyone puts on it. Keep those 15-inch camp. A lot of people put those 17-inch ones. I don't want any of that. I just want it stock. Just the way it came. Maybe, I think you need to put a big radiator in them because I don't think they cool down very well. But love those cars.
I love where your head's at. That was a backup on my list too. I was trying to dig deep if there were any 72 Mangustas, but I think even though they list 72 is the final year, 71 I think is the last production year.
Yeah.
I love Mangustas and they frighten the hell out of me. So Pantera is like, you could actually probably use it a fair amount.
Not to totally
just to look at with one of the
we ought to do that, Randy.
Those things are great.
All of us do that.
Those things are a terrible idea.
With one of the pianos.
Terribly.
Who cares?
They're so good though. Yeah.
I think the engine is a stressed part of the chassis. And what a disaster. But there's a Vallelunga on the site right now with a supercharger on it or something
There
like
is
that.
a crazy early DeTomaso. But anyway, Panteras are great, man. Panteras all through the range. I mean, the rubber bumper ones people don't like, but then you can get into like GT4s, GT5s. We were talking about these yesterday, right?
Yeah.
In the Netherlands where I'm going this weekend, there's going to be 3 or 4 of those Panteras and they're awesome.
I mean, they get crazy by the early 90s or whatever, but I like the I don't mind the impact or the bigger bumpers, but the original one without any
pre-L chrome bumper is what you want, and 72 gets that. It's great.
Yeah. There's one in particular that I have on here that I can
show us.
Green?
No, it's blue, but
there's some wacky colors.
It's got California blue. It's got blue plates on it. California blue plates.
Give me white letter sidewalls on a Pantera, right? What are those? Eagle STs, or is it? What are the tires?
Sure, are BFGs.
BFGs,
radial TAs.
So good. Terrible tires, but the white letter is really all that matters. Ripping around.
Not entirely unlike the other DeTomaso that we were just talking about. You just want to Mangusta. You just want to look at probably a Pantera. Although, I mean, people drive them on events.
No, you can run them. You can run them. You got to sort out, cooling and air conditioning.
All right, we're all doing pretty well. I'm not doing as terribly as I thought here in fourth place. All right, we're rounding out wild card.
Okay,
Zach.
Fortunately, no one has taken my wild card. It's 1972. We've listed on the site. It's powered by a 4.2 Jaguar 6-cylinder. And at the time, it was the fastest tank that you could get.
What is it?
It's an Alvis Sabre.
An Alvis.
It's a sports tank.
Wait a minute, but it's British.
It is British.
Yeah. Fantastic.
When it runs, it's a sports
tank.
tank.
I mean, Alvis made
fast
cars. They made
Alvis
sporty cars.
What? Okay, but in the 70s, they're like, no, we're going to change this up. We're going to make...
It's like Pegaso. They made a few of those beautiful sports cars, but mainly they made buses and tractors.
Yeah, tanks.
Totally.
Let's go.
They saw where the market was heading, and they read the current political conditions and pivoted to militia.
Is it wheeled or is it treaded? Does it have wheels or treads?
Treads. For sure, treads.
Wow. Okay. Amazing. Usually
50 miles an hour. This could have been my daily driver, but... the visibility is a little poor in inner city.
Easy to park.
Could have been your sports car. What's the lot number on that one, Zach?
The lot number, it's early. It's 30590.
Did I tell you guys about the guy who bought a half track on BAT and drove it to Menlo Cars and Coffee?
No.
And like the neighbors and people started calling like there's a tank in town. Like what the heck is going on? It's this hero move. My kids were climbing on Cars and Coffee and stuff, and he was like telling me about the cops, and cops were laughing, and he's like local dude with kids in school and whatever. He's just like a normal dude. But he was rolling a half track with it. I think it may have had a gun on it. That may have also been part of the problem.
Sure.
But just kind of cruising that through town. How does that go in San Francisco or in Berkeley where you are, Zach? They love it.
Yeah, it will
clear some Volvos out of the way.
Totally.
Clear
push them out of the way.
Yeah, push some Saabs out of the way in Berkeley.
Great pick, Zach. Really,
there we go. Wild card.
I think that's the first tank, or maybe even first military vehicle anyone's ever drafted. So that's really great. All right, Beck, what do you got for us?
So my wild card, different end of the spectrum, still a sports option, obviously, but it wasn't ever sold to the public, so I couldn't pick it for something of the previous categories, I feel like. But a Porsche 916, which was the development car, putting the 6-cylinder that wasn't just going to be the 914-6. They made about...
Was that a 72 car?
It's they made them in 71 and 72.
Cool.
It was a steel welded roof, so it's no longer a Targa panel.
Flares too, right?
Flares on it, yep. And it basically outrun costs, and so they discontinued it. But there's about 20 of them made.
I love those.
Do you know that I saw one of those? Only one of those I've ever seen was at DeWittiac in Pack Heights. Wow. He had a blue one on his showroom, and it has the body color Targa top.
Yep.
And it has some different features, but he had like...
I think it's welded on. The top is all one piece, I think.
Maybe.
Yeah.
It's painted. It's not vinyl. But yeah, he had one of those. I'd never heard of it, and I like read up on it. Do you guys remember that showroom? Beck and I talked about that showroom that was on Franklin. Yes. Franklin and not California, Pine. Franklin and Pine.
It moved around to 3 different places. Unfortunately, it not moved to Marin.
No, it's gone. Yeah. But no, the real one that was in Pack Heights, across from the tire shop. Right?
Well, they look so homebrewed that if you didn't know what it was, you just assume some guy did it in his garage.
Modded 914.
And people clone them all the time. My guy Dave at German Parts and Restoration, rest in peace, GPR, he built 2 clones. They were on the cover of European Tuner magazine or whatever, welding on the top, putting on flares, 3.2 Carrera motor, and you can kind of make a clone of a 916.
I wanted to do the 914/8.
8, yes.
But those were in 69. I looked up.
Okay, that was earlier.
Yeah. So.
And there's even fewer of those. Those were built for
2.
Ferry, right?
Yeah. For him and one, I don't know.
Flat 8.
908 motor.
908 flat 8s were put in this.
Sure.
But they look like a standard 914.
Those actually look like a normal narrow body 914. I don't know how they shoehorned it in, but that's a normal looking car, whereas the 916 looks like flares of a GT.
Is that a larger 6-cylinder too? Because it's still the little 2-liter in a normal 914.6.
I believe it's whatever the S motor would have been at that time. So that would have been a 2.2.
2.2 and with way more power.
Mm-hmm.
Great pick. Good one. Obscure poll. Another Porsche for the list. All right, Randy.
All right, I'm fast. This is where I hand the third spot on the podium to you, Alex, because nobody's gonna like this.
Well, mine's weird too.
I don't have
You're
a lot of
definitely not stealing
variety.
mine.
I'm like I don't know. I'm not being creative today. I'm just like narrow focused, but I want a 72 El Camino SS 454.
Oh,
Yes.
Which is very similar to another Chevy pickup and another Chevy truck. You may even have, who knows, shares a bunch of parts with a big 4x4, but I love El Caminos. The guy I bought my Cruiser from in high school, went to the high school. I think he was in my sister's class. And he took the money that we gave him for my first, or the FJ40 I drove to high school, and he bought an El Camino. And I was kind of like, shoot, maybe I should have done that. Anyway, so I've always kind of wanted to recreate that step from the Cruiser to the El Camino. So maybe I will someday.
454 SS is pretty rare though, isn't it?
It is, but I mean, the engines had certainly peaked and we're starting to sort of sunset. 72 was the last. 73 is
bigger
dumb.
motor to make the same as a 427.
Yeah.
HP is a 427.
Totally. So actually, I mean, my favorite El Camino is probably a 70, but since this is a 72 game, like I'll put up with those headlights and go with the 454.
Things haven't gone totally to pot in 72. We were talking about, what did you say, Zach? It's like the beginning of the end, or what?
Yeah. I mean, Mustangs are going down the tube.
455 SD. Pontiac, Trans Am, still good then.
It's kind of, they're just holding on. 73, though, it mostly went away.
Oil crisis starts next year.
73 is oil crisis. Yep, that's right.
Every guy that waited 1 year to buy a Barracuda is just so bummed.
He is so bummed.
Okay, I don't think you've necessarily ceded the spot to me because my wild card is pretty obscure too, and I don't think it's going to generate a lot of love, but I would like...
Is it a space shuttle?
No. I would like a AMC Javelin Trans Am car. They won the Trans Am championship in 72.
Yes, they did.
That's the Penske Donahue car.
Red, white, blue livery.
Yes, the red, white, blue.
That's a pretty late one, though. 72 is pretty late, right? Because, I mean, they were red, white, and blue livery from like 69.
Earlier on, correct.
Yeah.
But in 71 and 2, they
the
won
swoopy
Trans
front
Am.
fender.
Yeah, I've always loved those cars. They're always so fast at Monterey. There's always one or two there.
With white mini lights on them.
Correct.
Right? Yeah.
Yep.
There
Look
you
at
go.
those
That's the
cars.
car.
Look
at the wheels.
How can you not like that?
Yeah. AMC.
And it's kind of we're getting towards, speak of the same last topic, we're getting to the end of AMC. This is kind of their last, like, here's a great thing we did. American Motors holds the Trans Am championship. Like, that was their last great press release, probably.
Totally.
But, and, you know, Penske and Donahue, these great names associated with those things. They sound freaking fantastic. I even like 72 Mustangs, and I like 72 Camaros too, but this is just such a cool alternative and a cool piece of, you know, sports car racing and motorsports history. So there we go. That's my wild card.
Love it.
All right.
Man, we all flew through those. I'm telling you, 72, we could play another round, not allowed those models, and pick a bunch more, I think.
Oh, totally.
Right?
Well, it's a deep roster because you've also got this, like, Japan is starting to come into play, I think, a bit more as
nobody
real
picked a
options.
Z.
Yeah, I was going to say here.
Nobody picked a Z.
No 510. I thought, 510 Wagon was on my family hauler list, so some honorable mentions.
I thought Alpha Montreal was going to be on yours.
Oh, wow.
It was on my long list.
Yeah.
It was on
Wild card, if I wanted more variety, I should have done that. I mean, I love Z's. Z's are so good.
Yep.
You did Skyline, which is sort of adjacent. But
Yep. Nobody said, I thought Citroen SM might come up. No SM love. I thought
Zach
for sure that's where
wants
you
to
were
own
going.
one of those.
I debated, but I got to be true to myself.
You did a
I'd rather
tank.
roll a Skyline.
You'd rather roll a tank.
It's not wild to pick an SM, is it?
Yes, it is.
It's pretty weird. Yeah.
Yes, it is.
I was
brake pedal.
I was very torn. I think only Randy would have loved this, but I wanted a VW notchback as my daily driver. That was
72 is pretty late.
It's
dude.
tough.
Huge tail lights.
You want like a 65,
totally.
right? Really
Huge tail lights in 72.
But I love notchbacks, and that would be such a good daily driver.
Sportomatic.
I was expecting Bronco to get picked before I got to pick my 4x4, so my backup was actually coincidentally also a Bill Stroppe car. He did some Ford Couriers as well.
I didn't
for
know
Baja.
that.
Just deep into the research of that one it looked, I don't know, red, white, and blue livery as well.
Look at
go.
that.
He did about 6 of them for the Baja 1000, and there's only about one of them apparently left.
I love that you're shopping Baja trucks, Beck.
That seemed like the place to go.
Let's go. Man, there's all these options we're coming up with after the fact.
1800 ES Volvo. I've
Man,
always loved
so
those.
good.
The wagon,
So
machine
good.
brake.
Jarma.
And I
Oh,
think
yes.
Arma, 3
Harama. I've always said Harama.
Chevrolets.
The Lambo. You mean?
Yes.
Yeah, that was on my list. Espada
Right.
and Harama. I like both very
Yep.
much. I was going to see if you guys would let me get away with having one of those as a family hauler, but that's probably too much to ask. Those aren't much of a back seat in those cars.
Volkswagen Puma GT for all our Brazilian
Pumas.
fans.
I almost bought a Puma one time.
Those
No,
are around
yeah.
for sale.
My dad and I went and looked at one out in the middle of the desert. It was a pretty nice one. It was red, white, and blue. Yep. And
What
my-
year was that?
What do you mean it's red, white, and blue?
It was a red, white, and blue Puma sitting out
But what
Ridgecrest.
paint scheme?
I just had some weird paint scheme. This was like, I had never heard of it before. I already had my Gia, but I don't think I was 16 yet. So it was some weirdo that my dad knew out in the middle of the desert. We drove out on this
I
dirt
think
road.
if you drove
and it was sitting
Puma to high
outside.
school,
I know,
First
totally.
car? That's
They have
unreal.
a flat, they have the flat fan thing in the back. They're
Mhm.
weird. They're a weird
I
car.
want an SP2, but a Puma's cool.
They're both cool.
There's an SP2 at 72. Did I blow that? That could have been my wild card.
Do you guys have any other honorable mentions? I think we covered
we
most
say
of the stuff.
Daytona? I'm not a
I
huge
did.
Daytona
Right,
guy,
well,
but
He picked
The
a
race
Daytona.
car version
He
of it.
picked it.
yeah.
I like a Mach 1 351 sports roof Mustang. I think those are pretty good looking. There's some stuff that comes out in 73. There's some stuff that, and 72 is a little bit of a transition year.
I think Ghibli 49
Oh,
SSs
that's
are
a
pretty
good one.
sweet. I wouldn't mind
Where
rolling
are
those.
we forgetting all these cars?
I
I,
know.
picked 3 Chevrolets, and there's these options.
There's some big,
I was asleep
there's
at the
some
switch.
big caddies that are really good for this year, both convertibles
Those
and
are too
coupes
late
and
for me.
sedans.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
okay.
I get you. I
Yeah.
get you. Okay, I'm 4th place. I'll take my prize right now.
All right, let me read them back. Okay, for Zach. Zach's family hauler is a 600 Mercedes short wheelbase. Zach's truck 4x4 is a Honda Vamos, which I'd never even heard before. Great pick. Daily driver for Zach, C10 Skyline GTR. Sports car, 246 GT Dino in blue. And an Alvis tank for wild card.
Why not?
Yep. Does Zach get is that first place again? Here comes Beck. Family hauler for Beck is a DS21 wagon, Citroen. Truck 4x4 for Beck, FJ55, 350 powered. You had a specific one in mind. Daily driver for Beck, Ford Capri RS 2600, very strong pick. Sports car, 365 Comp Daytona, very good. Specific car in mind there as well. And for wild card, a Porsche 916. Randy has a Suburban,
Yes.
4-wheel drive.
I want to keep talking about
Ford
that.
family hauler. That was a very, very good one.
3-door.
Truck 4x4 for Randy is a GMC K20, his own truck, in fact, which is great. I'm not sure if anyone's ever picked their own vehicle before. 2000 TII for daily driver, CSL for his sports car.
Yes.
In Inca, please. And an El Camino 454 SS for wild card. And for me, Olds Vista Cruiser for family hauler, Bill Stroppe Bronco for truck 4x4, Walt Cunningham's 911S for a daily driver, a Pantera in blue for sports car, and an AMC Javelin Trans Am car for wild card. How'd we do, guys?
I think pretty well. We missed some. I respect Randy's list of pretty much trucks and BMWs only.
Those are the
It's
cars.
a good life.
You can
That's
actually
a pretty
see
good
Randy
life.
owning all of those. Like
I
those could
want
all
to.
be downstairs.
I want to. Man, TIIs, after going to that show, I am hot on O2s again, man. They are so cool. I've been looking at a lot of O2 listings.
So you've owned a 72, Zach.
72
S.
911 T.
Or
Coupe.
T, sorry. But
I wish
yeah.
it was an S.
S
Nev-
clone.
Never put gas in the external oil door.
We did check it one time, though, when it was running hot. I remember
Many
that.
times.
Yep. You've owned the truck. Is that your only 72,
The truck
Randy?
and my TII back in college, and then other 72s. I don't know. Stuff is come and gone. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Not for me. I've owned a 71, but not a 72. What about you, Beck?
Closest was 74. My TI was
Your TI was a 74.
but no.
Okay. Well, I guess that gives us all food for thought to buy some 72s. Anything else, gentlemen, before we end here?
Any upcoming events?
We have, this will be live tomorrow. So yes, we have the Quail this weekend, moto event. That should be great. We have Portland was announced. That is in June. Randy's going to be at an event this weekend also. You want to plug that
Just
one?
Saturday at our local partner in the Netherlands. Yeah, we're doing it. Man, are we doing 3 events in one
Yes.
Saturday? That's
Yeah.
a record.
Randy's about to be
Well,
on
because we're
tour.
sponsoring the thing at the Peterson, right?
That's right.
And then
Wagon
we're doing,
Fest.
yeah, all 3 of those.
Yep.
So anyway, that's very cool.
And then the Road America announcement just went up, which is very exciting. And that should be awesome.
And has a great
has a
artwork.
Did you guys
promotional
see the
artwork on Wisconsin? Did you guys see it?
GT350.
Go find it.
Where can I find?
Go
front page of the website.
find it on the website.
Over on the right
Oh
in
my
the feature
goodness.
section.
I dream about it.
Yes. I was saying we might need to make a t-shirt out of that one.
Or a billboard. That's incredible. Can
Is
we
that
paint
your
it down
car?
the side of this building? I don't know. All
Kind of.
Shelby's all look
Kind
the
of
same.
is.
But it's an R model looking Shelby. What a picture.
Shout out to Connor. Really nice job.
So good.
Chris said he asked him to come up with that and he thought he'd give him some pointers. He's like, no, that's perfect. You've done it perfectly. All right, boys. Well, thank you as always. And thanks to all of our listeners as always as well. We'd love to hear your 1972 one-year garage picks as well. So please don't hesitate to send those to podcast@bringatrailer.com with any other questions, concerns, or feedback that you might have. Thanks as always for listening, and we'll catch you next time.